Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:47 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, March 26, 2021. So, looking back at the action, it appears that we've held up in this upper node, right? So, right now, potentially off the table as long as we can hold a bid this morning, right? Of further collapse, maybe even 100 points. So, I think we're probably all right there today. We'll see how it shapes up. Looking at really that longer term, just remember that I still think there's a very high chance that at least two of these indexes trade these highs from pre-COVID last year. So as we, go further in the year, just, keep that in the back of your head that we should get a retest of at least two of these indexes, if not all of them, sometime during the year. I don't think that's on the table right now, but I think it will be. So looking at really the overnight, or I'm sorry, the a little medium term view of the indexes. So the Russell, it should have really held this basically 22, 25 area on the charts. After it didn't hold it, right, it come back down, and then that where support should have been became resistance. It sold off basically, another 100 plus points from that area of the chart. Now it's coming back up, trying to return to the scene of crime. That area for me of interest is 2215 to 2230.7 for the Russell, and we'll see what happens. It could just get stuck under there and consolidate. We'll see. It could get stuck in this window between basically 2175 and 2215 as a scenario as well. Looking at the ES, it's looks fairly healthy to me, as does the Dow. So what we've had is this consolidation area basically between 38.93 half up to 39.53 with a break point at 39.2850. Right. So as we're going there, right, we tested below. We went down below these 38.59s, 38.60s, right? Dipped into them all the way down into basically 43.44, and then have responded right back up to this consolidation area. So that 39.2850 is going to be the next resistance above it, and we'll see it could again get stuck between 93 half and 28 half as well. Looking at the Dow, right, it has the same pattern as the ES, right? And all these patterns, I mentioned it yesterday, right? Where it was supposed to be support, it broke it, it come back up and retested it as resistance. Until we see that pattern change, right, it's still a little bit dicey for the longs, right? So we've pierced these levels, but we haven't come back and tested any support yet. So for the ES to be that 38.93 half, right? I would like to see a retest somewhere close to that, at least to 3,900. And then looking at the Dow again, that same pattern, right? Come back over. We haven't had a retest of support so far. We've just been popping through resistance here. So as we look at both of these in the Russell, I'm sorry, the NASDAQ, I mean, we could just get stuck basically between these 12,712 up to 13,170 in the bigger picture, with a little bit of a break point right around 13,000, plus or minus. It's really 12,953 on the lower side and 13,020 basically on the upper side. So looking at Tesla, right? Tesla has just been stuck consolidating, basically flagging in this area after it dropped, right? It's still holding the halfway back short that ends up targeting down here at 454.32, right? It's just been sitting here consolidating. Yesterday, it modestly pierced the 61.8, I wouldn't read too much into it of the long sequence. But if you wanted to, you could look from the high to the low to see if it's sold back into a little bit more aggressively now that's happened. But basically, sitting here on that halfway back long coming out of these lows at $628, $29. And that does target up to the 61.8. I think this is going to be the better short whenever it sets up this $760 level. I think that NASDAQ's just going to fall out of bed when that hits up there. So as we look at the overnight action, basically 21 points in overnight action. Level 4 is 3768 to 4033. I doubt if either of those extremes trade today. But you can see basically anywhere in our March range would be basically on the table today for the ES. Looking at all the indexes, you can see that the NASDAQ is right in the middle of value, right? So it could pop up, it could pop down, but it's basically flat in the middle of yesterday's area. It's exactly neutral for me. It says it's down 0.25%, but it's trading right in the middle of its yesterday's value area. So it's basically as flat as you can be. Looking at the other three indexes, right, holding above yesterday's high for the Russell, right at yesterday's high for the ES, holding above yesterday's high for the Dow. And what we have here is we had some Salmon run trades go off for the Dow. Those are basically 32,550 to 32,569, right? Holding up above those levels now is going to be key to keep going up in the morning, right? Falling back below the single prints from yesterday for the Dow, right, is going to be a bearish signal, and that's going to be at 32,427 to 32,475. I will let you know that in the last probably 10 trading sessions, except for the Russell, every time there's been single prints above or below, they've traded back through the next day. So no matter what happens today, if we end up going up and you think it looks as bullish can be, if you're hanging around later in the day today, my advice would be not to, number one. But we're likely just to get a flush into the close and trade these green boxes that are left on all the indexes, right? That's a scenario. There is a possible remote scenario that will finally trap some bears below and just squeeze them all day. This market hasn't had any conviction for doing anything like that. That would probably be the smallest of things that are on the table today, in my opinion. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday.